You know what? There is always one miserable soul at a family reunion that cannot wait to get it popped off. Always. It never fails. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Love and Hip Hop Family Reunion. This is season 2, episode 1. Listen, they're in San Diego, California. Mimi is hosting. We got Jonathan and Brooke Valentine are her co-hosts. A whole list of the folks from all over are actually coming. It's day 1. First thing we found out, Brooke is married now. So I was like, well, okay, Brooke. Beautiful ring. Her ring was beautiful. So she's married. Her and Marcus. I think it's his name, Marcus. Yeah, Marcus. And Jonathan then invited Stevie J. I said, so Mimi is the host who invited you to come on and be the co-host under her, and you go and you invite Stevie J. Messy boots. Messy, 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 messy. Jonathan. And Jonathan looks great. I looked at Jonathan. I said, check Jonathan out. Because, you know, there's been some different looks as we've known Jonathan. Like, he's had some different kind of work done here and there. And sometimes things don't be just... Jonathan looks great in this. I was like, okay, Jonathan, you look really, really good. Anyway, moving on. So day 1, an all-white beach party is what they planned. Mimi planned this out, and it's supposed to be giving everybody like this clean slate. So here's who actually showed up at the beach party. You got Sin Santana. You got Peter Guns. Well, you got the whole Creep Squad. Peter Guns, Rich Dollars, as well as Cisco. But Cisco came alone. I said, well, what's that about? Here it is. Cisco and the Creep Squad still got some bad blood between them. You know, they always say he's strange and he kind of keeps and holds things in and he stays mad the longest. So, whatever. We got the whole Creep Squad. We got Zell, Bobby Lights, Erica Mena, Shekinah. I'm going to get to that in a second. But we got Shekinah. We got Yo-Yo. We got Cambella and Jewels are there. He's home and everything. We got Tara and Amina and Peter Guns. I said, what you say? Come on here. With all of them. And we got Booby. Okay? We got Booby. And when Brooke says, it was funny that Brooke and Booby, and Brooke said, well, I brought Booby for some eye candy for them. I said, for them or for you, Brooke? Anyway, Booby's there, child. Old hot Booby. Anyway, like I said, Creep Squad is all separated, carrying on right away. Right away, we see the friction. They start talking about this pay-per-view fight that Peter Guns and Cisco had. And Cisco was actually named the winner. And I guess that's, you know, technically in the boxing match, he was named the winner. But Peter Guns is like, but you know I beat his ass though, right? I'm like, what is that? You know, but that's, you know, it's like that dysfunctional brotherhood, I guess. But they're there. Rich Dollars is just there living his best life. Rich actually looks great too. Because we remember Rich had a bout with diabetes and different things like that. And the last I was watching in New York, Rich was in that period of getting his diabetes and stuff under control and learning, you know, to deal with his medications and just what he should be doing and what he shouldn't be doing and all of those kind of things. And seeing him now, Rich looks great. He looks like he's feeling really, really good and doing really well. So he was living his best life, having a good time, and just couldn't leave oh, Erica alone. He all up in Erica's face. I said, interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So that was that. He was over there, like, basically really shooting his shot at Erica. I was like, you need to leave her alone. But okay, whatever. Um, Before I even go into all of this, let me say this. Shekinah, why'd you even come here? Why did you even come here? Shekinah is giving you hater raid. She is so bitter and so evil and just so not on the same page as everybody else. Like, everybody else is really genuinely happy to be there, and I'll tell you why. I mean, come on, we're dealing with the pandemic. We were dealing with a pandemic. Everything been shut down. Television shows been cut off. Filming's been stopped. This, that, thing, and the other. I believe this was true life where everybody was really happy being on this set. We're all back working. Shekinah, bitter, or maybe that's just her role to bring the bull, but she was just bitter, and she got a bug up her ass for the Creep Squad. And Peter Guns more so than everybody else. She knows Amina, she knows Tara. She was already perpetuating a problem in her first scene. You know, everybody's like, oh, I'm so glad to be here. Oh, it's so good to see you. And she was already perpetuating a plan and a problem that she going to have with the Creep Squad and how they speak to women and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, girl, ain't nobody asked you to come in here to be the woman for the activist for women's rights. We ain't even here yet. We ain't even got, is your stuff out of your luggage yet? Why you doing all this? Shit, when I tell you, Shekinah in this first episode, Shekinah has literally gotten on my complete nerves. Like, she can go home tomorrow and I'll be fine if we don't see Shekinah in another scene. She has literally gotten on my nerves. I'm like, girl, you are really giving me Debbie Downer tease. But anyway, maybe she's going to be the one to move the drama along. But it was cringe-worthy. It's because it's that thing of, she's being that woman who is all rah, rah, rah in these guys' face. And if they say anything back to her, you know, it's going to go to, but I'm a woman. And girl, go sit down. Just go sit down. It's just all stupid. Go sit down. Anyway. Okay, so listen, here's some of the other little stuff that was going on. Erica and Bobby Lights, they kind of avoided each other a little bit because there is some background mess that went on with them that has to do with Erica feeling like Bobby was trying to play a part in breaking up her marriage, and he says that that's a complete false narrative. And there was some stuff that went on the blogs. So that was that. So that came out right in the beginning. We'll talk about that more going forward. Brooke and Erica. Brooke and Erica had a small little sit down where they're sitting there, you know, right there on the beach, and Erica was like happy. And you know, from the last season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Erica was just miserable. She cried and carried on the whole. She's pregnant. She's miserable. She's going through postpartum. She has all these things going on. So she's been pretty miserable the last months that I've seen her. She was really happy and looking good and having herself a good time. And as soon as Brooke said to her that she had invited Safari, that he would be coming, her whole spirit dropped. Nothing to the fact that you got all these exes here already. Like, literally, Sin Santana's there, Richie's there. Who else? Who else she messed with that's there? Child, she got like exes floating, and then when Safari come, that's gonna be number 3. I was like, girl, okay. No, she was cool, you know. She was like, whatever. I was like, okay. But yeah, I just saw her whole spirit just drop, and Brooke was like, you know, you got to be sure. If you're going to like really divorce, you need to be sure that you've given up completely, you know? So look at this. Look at this here. Sin is working on Booby. Obviously, Sin Santana and Booby have actually kind of like, you know, just probably like just a little light DM stuff, like, and not too much DM, but more so liking each other's pictures and stuff on social media. So they've actually met, and honey, she wants some of him, and he wants some of her. Um, Already they're kind of bumping heads because he's like, wait a minute, so you want to put me in the friend zone? I'm looking for something to really get into, and I ain't trying to be put in the friend zone. And she's like, I'm just trying to look for something to really sit on top of, and I'm, you know, I'm putting everybody in the friend zone. So they already got, oh, there's gonna be a little friction there. So then we look around. Then Shekinah goes and attacks Peter, of all people. First, Cisco goes over and says, hey, oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you. It's so good to meet you. She gets to fussing at him. Flat out. Like he was fangirling her. And she tell him and the rest of the Creep Squad is petty. And they arguing over something. And whatever their conversation they was having that didn't have nothing to do with her was just childish and this, that, and the other. And I was looking at her like, I know there's got to be a megabus scheduled that y'all can stick her ass on and send her about her way. But anyway, then Peter comes and Peter's like, hey, you know what? And she just started going off on Peter. Completely going off. Peter did not start it. Cisco did not start it. The Creep Squad did not start with Shekinah. Shekinah jumped this whole thing off. Everybody looked at her. Everybody seen it. It was very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And they were all, had like these nervous laughs, like trying to just move it along. She's out of order. She called Peter Guns a shriveled up bitch. I said, oh my God. She was just disrespectful. Completely disrespectful. You know, Tom, I know your baby's mamas and this, that, thing, and the other, and she just giving him all this. Here it is, and here's the cute part. Here's the cute part. Tara wasn't even feeling that behavior. Tara got a little ticked off with Shekinah and how she was actually, she's like, he is my family. Or you may want to rethink that route you're going. Anyway, and Mimi referred to her as the crazy auntie at the reunion. I agree. I don't know why they let her up out of that back room. Anyway, just a mess. Just a mess. Like I said, Richie was all up in Erica's face and rubbing on her goddamn thigh. Zale's nebby ass was over to her. I don't like it. I don't like it because he's friends with Safari. Girl, mind your business. Mind your business and go on. Jewels ended up performing for them. Child, and then why Brooke say, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm still getting this together. She said, I'm recovering, Ratchet. I fell out. That was funny to me. And it seems as though Mimi is complete full-on lesbian now. Like Mimi don't do men at all no more, is what I was gathering. I said, okay, Mimi. So she came all the way over to the other side of the fence. Then we found out, I said, well, what's the thing with Erica and Sin? I'm like, you know, there's been a lot of time that's gone by with them. And it's like, you know, well, they're done with whatever their situation is, right? No. Come to find out, Erica was trolling Sin on the internet. Trolling her through Instagram on an account, and then she didn't dispose of the whole account. She ended up turning that account into an account for her little girl. But, you know, all of the backlog stuff was still there. So Sin could still see all the... Child, a mess. Erica got busted trolling. I was like, oh, so Erica, when you was going through your little postpartum and stuff down in Atlanta, you was busy. You was busy doing a whole lot of little stuff. You was still being Erica Mima. honey, all in between cries. Messy, 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 messy boots. Anyway, Peter and Rich ended up having a little sit down, and Rich was telling Peter, this whole thing going on with you and Cisco, I don't like it. Him having to actually show up here by himself, we ain't show up as a group, as a full brotherhood. I don't like it, and we need to fix it. Peter's kind of like, Peter's hard-headed, but Rich was like, I ain't hearing that bullshit. We need to fix it. That's all there's to it, really. Jonathan ended up having a sit down with Cisco, and in this sit down, I said, Cisco, as much as I try to like you, as much as I try to keep restarting, and I try to you really, it's hard. It's hard to like you because you are petty and you are immature, and you're just no one that I would actually invest any time in. I just wouldn't do it. You're just so damn extra. He's sitting there, and yes, I feel sorry for him. He says he hasn't seen his children in 6 months. Okay? He hasn't seen his children in 6 months. But what his big issue is that he resents Rich and Peter because they have access to see their kids. Make that make sense. Why is that even a thing? Why is that even a thing? That's ridiculous. The situation about you not being able to see your children has everything to do with you, the children's mother, and whatever else y'all got going on, whether it be the court system or whatever. It has absolutely nothing to do with Rich and Peter. Unless you come on with some more story that tells us that it does. But from where I'm sitting, you're just saying that you're jealous. And he used the words jealous and resentful. That's 2 strikes. That's 2 strikes. I'm going to tell you flat out, I don't need any friends that are jealous or resentful of me. That's crazy. It's just a mess. That whole situation is really, really a mess. I couldn't deal with anybody like him. I'm not taking on any friends. Not at this time in my life. I'm not taking on any friends like that with that type of mess. I don't even need you around. Jealousy, resentment. What do you do? Wear green all the time? Get out of here. Anyway, moving on. Last thing I'm going to talk about on here on this episode was Jonathan and Sin and Bobby and Erica all sat down together because Bobby wanted to talk to Erica and clear the air, get that little thing together before they moved on. Okay? So he waited till everything broke up. It had started like thundering and lightning. They were having like a little thing going on, and they just like stopped and they said, let's just go sit down and talk. What ended up happening was they sat down, and then the thing was Erica allegedly Erica sent her friend. Okay, after there was a party, Erica had a party, and it was for her and Safari. Bobby was invited. Bobby brought a +1. The +1 was up in Safari's neck, okay? So Erica got pissed off. So later on, after that, Erica had a girlfriend of hers come in, came to a club. She came in to jump on the girl that was the +1 of Bobby's. And Bobby called himself like going to break it up and everything. And the friend swung on Bobby. Okay? And they got into a whole altercation or a kerfuffle. And then the girl was bragging online saying that she beat Bobby's ass and all of this kind of carrying on. And then it came out online later. They found a message where Erica had commented and told the girl something about sending the money. She allegedly paid the girl to actually do this. So that's kind of where we closed off. I've actually given you a little bit of what's happened in the first part of the second episode, but that's okay. Because we ended here and we pick right back up here in episode 2. And we'll talk about that when you get over to the episode 2 video. But this is what it is. There's the alleged. And then when we get to episode 2, we'll start to talk about what Erica said to Bobby in this little conversation. But that's where I'm leaving right now. That's it for episode 1. I'll see y'all in the next video. Later.